Oh boy, ALS Industries has got a big one for us today. This is the ES-2800, the follow-up to the ES-1800 I covered earlier. And as the name suggests, this can hold 28 cartridges. If you got this thing back in the day, you know your parents loved you, because even though this is pretty much, cheap particle board and some plastic and decals, I can guarantee you this was an expensive item, because it takes up such a big part of the center of entertainment in your house with the TV and everything. I mean, even before these giant. Do you remember in the '90s where they had all those? They still do. They still make these entertainment centers that all these little cubby holes and everything. They just didn't have. That wasn't like a big thing back in the day. So you have this thing on top, Nintendo on top. It's like, oh, look at this thing. Maybe you were lucky to have this in your own room, but nonetheless, this is a pretty impressive case in how big it is. Just I don't even know if I'm going to swivel it around here, but you can see it's like scraping the back there. Particle board with the veneer, black veneer wood. I'm not going to tilt it, but it on the bottom it's a brown wooden particle board. It doesn't have the veneers. And on the side here you can see it has more of that veneer. So, oh boy. Maybe I'll raise it up a bit. You can get a good look at the what's inside. So, top drawer is where we hold controllers. And these have specifically labeled areas here. You can see there's the stamp for the controller, and this area is for your controller cord. They label them the zapper cord, and then your zapper. See, they labeled that too. So before we open up the second drawer here, you can take a look. This has a nice silver decal there. But yeah, I just wanted to point out that these are ridges. Anyways, let's get to this problematic second drawer. It can hold 28 cartridges like I specified. However, it's better if you notice. Let's take a look at. Let me take a moment to ask you a question. What's different about the first row of 14 games versus the second row of 13 games? There's one missing here. I'll point out the reason why in a second. The second row all has the slip cover, dust cover cases, while the first row does not. And as you can see, these ones stand straight up while these ones flop around, and actually on the bottom they fall through. So if I try closing this drawer, which I did a moment ago and had to cut away, it won't close, because what happens is the bottom, I'm pushing, the bottom of the cartridges actually fall through a bit on the bottom, and it won't allow you to close. So you need those dust covers to prevent them from falling and to be able to close, as well as to hold them in place, because otherwise it's just this floppy mess. Even if they didn't fall below the gap on the bottom there, son of a gun, there's like a little window. See down here, there's a little window. They fall through that. Even if they didn't do that, they would still flop out on the sides, and you'd have to push them in. So it's just, you want to have these slip covers. Now, the reason why I set this one aside is because not only do you have to have the slip covers, but they can't have dents like this. Because what happens is, when you try to, sometimes they bow out on the sides, and when you try to slip them in, it has a hard time fitting in those little grooves on the bottom. So it's just a real pain in the butt to squeeze the sides of the dust cover in. So you might as well, you could do it, once you do it once, I guess you don't really need to take it out. But if you're pulling it out, knock something out, maybe it pops out of the little grooves down there. well, then you have to squeeze it in again. It's a real pain in the butt. So, nonetheless, yeah, it's a really cool, comprehensive case. It commands a place in your entertainment center. But yeah, those are the little caveats you have to take into account. I'm not lifting the bottom up right now, but I did want to point out, because I didn't lift at the bottom, there are these little pads on the bottom of the case, so it lifts. You can, so it doesn't scratch the surface like this particle board doesn't scratch whatever you put it on, like glass or whatever. So nonetheless, this is a ES 2800 case. Yeah,